Okay, so we are going to talk about Love is Blind, Germany.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the newest season on Netflix, and it's been out, I think, just for a few weeks now. So we haven't watched all of it. We've only watched 3 episodes. So we're just going small, little by little. But we wanted to talk about it because I feel like it's going to be good. So, Love is Blind, episode 1 basically just talks about the different characters or cast members. I keep saying characters, different cast members. So, we'll talk a little bit about the cast members and I'll put their pictures up so you can see them like right there. That's where I'll put them right there. All right, first one. Her name is Honey. What do you think about Honey? Honey.
Yeah, she likes herself.
Honey likes herself. She's sweet on herself. She thinks highly of herself, which, hey, that's okay. That's okay. But she wears a lot of revealing clothes, but she doesn't want anybody to misjudge her. So she wants to show it all, but nobody look and nobody think anything.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's okay. All right, then we have Daniel, who actually is like her love interest. Daniel is bald, Mr. Clean, Slick Rick, very pointy features, you said he was the villain, right? He looked like a villain.
He reminds me of the villain from the Flash Gordon movie, the old Flash Gordon movie. I swear I think the name is Ming the Merciless, but I don't know if that's right or not. I was never like a comic book guy, but
yeah, he looks like an assassin.
Yeah.
Oh, he looked like he'll cut you. He don't like you. Honey, better watch out. Okay, then we have Elias. Elias wasn't really that exciting. Like, I don't want to say anything mean about him, but he was just kind of boring. He looked like a little boy to me. He looked like he was 16 with his hoodies. Yeah, he was just kind of whiny a little bit almost. He kind of liked Honey a little bit, and then he liked somebody else, but he just kind of had like a big goofy smile. That was really all about him. He wasn't bad. He just was kind of like, yeah, meh. And then we have Alina. Same thing. Alina is 27. She was just kind of meh. You know, beautiful, very pretty, but just meh, you know, nothing that really stood out. Then we have Shella, who was 28. She was from Africa, very beautiful, very mature, thought very carefully. She was very cautious, very slow. So, and, you know, I thought about it before. Like, I didn't really know why she would even want to come on the show, as slow as she is about thinking about everything. She doesn't seem like the kind of person who would have jumped onto the show, but she did. So, okay. Then we have Pascal.
Yeah.
Pascal is 32 and he is very, very tall.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah.
He said, with Shella, he said, oh, you're from Africa. Oh, I just got back from Africa. He likes Africa. So, yeah, I guess he thought they were a perfect match because she was from Africa and he went to Africa. I don't know. All right, then we have Fabio. Fabio is older. He was 33. And he basically was just kind of like, I don't know, didn't seem like anything wrong with him, but he didn't wear no socks. He wore his pants up real high. And I thought that was kind of funny. He's a flight attendant, had like a man bun. He wore his shirt open. He thought he was fabulous because his name was Fabio. And he kind of had a love interest. He was tied up between 2 people. So that's interesting. Then we have Alberta. She was the youngest one. And the only thing, like I said before, the only thing I could find interesting about her, really, not that she wasn't interesting, she was wonderful, but in the introduction was that she likes to ride a unicycle. I don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It's interesting, right? Fun fact.
That's a unique talent.
Yeah. Okay, then we have Marcel. And at first I did not like Marcel because hey guys, we're back. Or I'm back, I should say. All right, so we're going to pick up with Marcel. So Marcel, like I was saying, I wasn't sure if I really was going to like him very much because, not because he's a vegan, but just because he came off as this like arrogant, kind of pompous, you know, I am this and I am that. Like it was just so important to him. So, but yeah, I mean, he's vegan. His clothes match very much the same. Like he had like a brown shirt, a brown, you know, little other shirt to put on and brown pants, and everything just like was just picture perfect. So I just wasn't sure if I was going to like him very much. But then he started talking about the things that he does and why he does them. So then I started kind of feeling a little bit, you know, a little bit more compassion for him, because he talked about coming from a foster home, and he also talked about I think he and his brother or something maybe had gotten separated, and he had to live in a foster home. And he talked about his appreciation for doing work for like homeless people and feeding the homeless. And then I was like, okay, well, he must be a pretty good person. But that's Marcel. And one thing I thought was kind of cool is that he does like to meditate, and he says he does a 10-day meditation retreat every year. So okay, if that's his thing, that's pretty cool. Okay, and then there was Jen, who is 30, and all really basically that we learned about her was that she just really worked in the fitness world. So she liked to work out, and that was really pretty much it. So nothing good, nothing bad, nothing exciting. She was very pretty. So yeah, I mean, pretty simple. Jen was pretty simple. And then we get to Tolga. Tolga was very full of himself. Tolga was a character in itself. Okay, so Tolga liked to wear these crazy funky glasses, and he had slick back hair, and he definitely thinks that he is God's gift. And maybe he is, I don't know, but I would be very cautious with him because I feel like he's very much materialistic and into looks. But that's Tolga. So he calls himself an F boy. Yeah, so I'm not really sure about that because that's not really a good way of looking at yourself or a compliment. So he kind of took it as a compliment. So red flag number 20, FYI. Okay, and then there was Hannah. And Hannah was a sweet girl, kind of a little curvy, a little bit thicker than the other girls, which nothing wrong with that. She's beautiful. But that was really it about her. I mean, she was 28. There really wasn't anything that really stood out except for I think she had a little crush on Tolga. Run, Hannah. Okay. Anywho, so then it kind of just was pretty much the end of it. There were a couple of dates in episode 1, but not much. So the only things really that came out in episode 1 was that Hani likes Elias, but Elias kind of likes Alina. And then it like all got jumbled up. So, and then Alberta, beautiful girl, kind of had a crush on Fabio and maybe a little bit on Pascal. So they're all dating and kind of mingling and like, ooh, trying to figure out, who do I like? Who do I like? And then, walking around with their little books and their little cups and taking notes and figuring out who they want to go on a date next with, I guess. So Hani goes on a second date with Elias. But then she ends it abruptly, and it's actually kind of funny. It was really the funniest thing that happened in the entire episode because it's kind of boring, honestly. But the funniest thing that happened was like she starts to admit that she kind of has a thing for Daniel, but she doesn't say his name. She just says, "Oh, I kind of have a thing for maybe another person, but I just don't know because I kind of have feelings for you too." And Elias is like, "Oh yeah, me too. Oh, it would be such a shame if we didn't get to see each other again. But I don't know." And as soon as he says, "I don't know," Honey stands up and she's like, "Okay, bye then. Goodbye. See ya." Like she took that as an exit and she was gone. She was like, "Beat feet, I'm out. That's my exit. Goodbye." And Elias is like, "Okay, well, dang." So that was like the funniest thing that happened in the whole episode. Even though it was kind of sad for Elias, but Honey was like, "Okay, I made my choice. It's Daniel. Bye, Elias. Sucks to be you." That's pretty much it. Episode 1. Okay, episode 2. This was a little bit boring also, but it does start to get a little bit better toward the end because it does end on a cliffhanger, so that's kind of exciting. But episode 2 starts off with Hani and Daniel. Daniel finally proposes to her, and she's like, "Yes, I will, absolutely." And she's concerned, like, "Oh, I hope he's so cute. I hope he has good biceps and stuff." So a little materialistic, a little bit. I mean, of course, you want to think that they're good looking. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to be more concerned with how are they going to feel about me, not how am I going to feel about you, right? That's kind of a little bit more of why are you coming on the show if that's what your thing is. Like, what's the point of coming on the show? That's kind of dumb, isn't it? Love is blind, not like, oh, the worst thing that's going to happen is if I'm not attracted to them. Like, what about if they're not attracted to you? But I guess she really realizes that everybody's going to be attracted to her because she is very beautiful. So I don't know. Must be nice. Okay. Then we have Tolga and Hannah, or Tolga and Sheila, because now Tolga's true self is coming out. Like I said, he's a player and he cannot decide between Hannah or Sheila. Sheila, in my opinion, I think would be a better choice for him because I think that she is more like strict and direct. And I think she would be like a mom and she would be like, Tolga, shut up and sit down. I don't want to hear your nonsense. Take off those stupid glasses. You look dumb. And maybe comb out your hair. And I think that Hannah would be too sweet. And I think that he would take advantage of Hannah. So I was rooting for Sheila just because I think that Hannah deserved better. But Tolga can't make up his mind. So he's going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Right? He's a sucky guy. And then we have Alina and Elias. Now, there's nothing really that exciting about them, but they act like they're in love. So we're rooting for him because we want them to be happy. He brings her to their final date. He brings her some tarot cards, or they call them angel cards, I guess, in Germany. I don't know if that's a thing, but she's all excited. She's like, oh, angel cards. And she pulls an angel card and she's like, oh, we must have strength to move forward on our journey. And they're both like, oh my God, it's so meant to be. And Elias is like, oh, I knew it. And then he's like, oh my gosh, I must propose. So that was it for them. He proposes. She says yes. Match made in heaven, I guess, right? Or in the angels, with the angels. I don't know. Okay, but then Elias takes a little bit of a turn. He's kind of like scared because he's afraid that she's going to find out this deep, dark secret about him. Well, the secret, it's bad, but it's not that bad. He just admits that he had been a cheater many years ago. And her response was, well, that's a deal breaker for me. Once a cheater, always a cheater kind of thing. But it was several years ago. And he's so young. He's like, I think he's like 26 years old. So it's not like he can't learn from his mistakes. So she gives a little thought to it. And then she's like, oh, but my angel cards. Oh, no, journey together. It's okay. So yeah, they basically just like kind of kiss through the wall, makeup kind of a thing. All right. And then we move on to Medina and Sally. So I don't like Medina. Not at this moment. Maybe he will grow on me later on. But as of right now, episode 2, Medina is a jerk. So Medina calls himself a Christian. And that doesn't make him better. But it makes it to where he knows better. He should know better. If he's going to claim that he is a good person and that he, tries to be compassionate and loving and forgiving and all those good things, he certainly was not. So Medina needs to go back to church on Sunday and meet with the pastor or preacher or priest or somewhere and get a little bit of holy water sprayed over his face. Because he does Sally wrong. Spoiler alert. But they both are like, oh my God, we're a match made in heaven. I love Jesus. You love Jesus. Oh my God, scripture. We love it. Read the Bible. We pray. We put God first in our relationship. Yeah, well, Sally does. Sally does, but not you, Medina. Medina be putting somebody else in front, and it ain't God. Of course, I know I shouldn't be saying those things. But it's what it appears to be. That's the feeling that Medina is giving us. He's giving us Satan vibes. That's what he's given. Anyway, okay. Then we have Jen. Jen and Marcel. Very sweet. I think they're perfect for each other. Very easygoing, very chill. They're both covered in tattoos. They just, I don't know. They just seem really good. They seem like a good fit. So Marcel proposes. She says yes. Happy, happy. Joy, joy, right? So that works out. And then we get back to the drama. Okay, this is toward the end of episode 2. This is where Tolga comes in with his boy self. And he has to make a decision. He goes on his final dates. sits with Sheila and listens to Sheila talk about how her relationship in the past was very hard. And it changed her because she really thought that the person she was with was going to love her, care for her, treat her well. It was her birthday one night. She talks about how they went to dinner and he didn't even get her anything for her birthday, not even a stupid cupcake. He just ignored it. They went home. That was it, blah. So she felt worthless. Eventually, she realized she was worth more than that. So she leaves the guy. And now this is her first experience with love again with Tolga. So the next date, she shows up with Tolga, and what is sitting on her little table in her room? A cupcake and a rose. Most people would be like, oh, how sweet. Oh my God. But it's Tolga. And I'm just very leery. He might be the most wonderful person in the world, but I just am not buying it. So she sees the cupcake, and rather than saying, I just thought of you and I care so much about you, I really wanted to get you something special because you're so special and you deserve it. Instead, he says, are you going to eat the cake now? Or are you going to take it back to the lounge with the girls and show it off? Because you should just show it off. I mean, Tolga, no class, no compassion. So it wasn't coming from the right place. It was just coming from a place of showy. But, guess who's going to see that? Hannah, the one that you were also stringing along. So what does Sheila do? Well, she was wrong for this, but she took that cupcake back to the lounge and she shows it off. Well, guess who's laying on the couch? Hannah. Hannah hears the whole thing. So Hannah, hair all a mess, pulls the covers down. She's laying on the couch, so sad, in a state of depression, pulls the covers down below her face, peeks out, and is like, what? Cupcake? He got you a cupcake? Oh my God. Oh my God, you're his number one? And she hears the whole conversation. So how horrible. And I'm sorry, but Sheila was wrong for that. Okay. Hannah goes on her date with Tolga. Flat out is like, me or her. You got to choose. Well, guess what? Tolga picks Sheila. But Hannah, consider it a blessing because I just don't see it. I don't see it going to go well. I don't see it going well with Sheila. I just don't. I don't know. There's just a feeling about it, just a feeling. All right. And then the last part, the very end of episode 2, this is where Fabio comes into play because Fabio and Pascal and Sheila and Alberta were going back and forth too. So it wasn't really like a love triangle. It was like a love square, which is what my husband said. It was like a love square because Pascal and Fabio were really into Sheila and Alberta. And they were each into them, but they couldn't figure out which one that they thought would be better. Pascal's like, I don't want Alberta. I just want Sheila. So he really was the first one to make his mind up. He tells Sheila, gives her a letter. Sheila cries. Oh my God, he's so sweet. I think I really want to be with Pascal. I'm going to go back and tell Fabio, we're done. Fabio can have Alberta. Problem is, Alberta and Fabio go on a date, and idiot Fabio tells Alberta, you're too young for me, and I think I would rather have Sheila. Idiot, because Sheila's over there telling Pascal she's in love with him. So now, nobody gets nobody. At least not at this moment anyway. So that's how it ends. Pretty much the last thing Fabio says to Alberta, and Alberta is professing her love to him. She is literally sobbing in tears. I'm not too young. I know what I want. I love you. You're the most perfect person. Everything I've ever wanted in a man. And he literally has the nerve with his crappy man bun. And I like man buns, but his is crappy. And his shirt wide open and his pants too short, just looking like a fool. And he literally says to her, I think I'm in love. And Alberta goes, with me? And he says, mm-mm. His pause is a little bit too long, so Alberta knows. And she says, with her? Cue the drama. And that's episode 2. So, how crappy? They're all crappy. There's only a couple that are halfway decent, and I'm not even sold. So this Germany show, I don't know. I just don't know. It's different in the States, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch it because the dubbing is amazing and it's the best dubbing out of all of them. And I watched every one of them, like the France one, and all the other ones. I've watched all of them: Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, you name it. I've watched them all. This is the best dubbing. Their voices match perfectly, so I highly recommend it. But like I said, I'm only on episode 3. So okay, last one, episode 3. Oh, I'm so fired up over Medina. I just don't know. I'm just so fired up about it. Okay, episode 3. This is the last day. So this is like the end all. Everyone has to make their final decisions, right? This is it. Like, do or die. If you're going to be on the show and if you're going to get a proposal and get married or go on your vacation, then you got to pick now. Do or die. So, I really like Shella, but this was really wrong. Okay, this is doggish. This is something I pictured Olga doing. After she goes and talks to Pascal and Pascal proposes to her, they decide they're going to be together. She goes back to the lounge and she tells Alberta, he picked me. He picked me. Pascal didn't want you either. La, 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 la. And Alberta's like, oh my God, I don't want to hear it. I'm going home. And Shella just keeps on talking. I mean, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, girl? Like, girl code. And I know this is a show, and everyone's kind of competing against each other. I know that. It's for love. You don't really have real friends here, I guess. But I mean, come on. How rude is that? Oh, I was so furious. But whatever. That's it. So Fabio goes home. Alberta goes home. Ain't nobody got anybody except for, I guess, out of that situation, I guess Pascal and Shella. But I don't know. I don't feel good about it either. Okay. Let's see. The next one. So this is where Tolga comes in. And Tolga decides to go ahead and make his final decision. And he does go ahead and pick Shella, which, like I said, honestly, Hannah's better off. I mean, he goes in there and he's like, I got butterflies for her. So he goes and picks her. And I think that it's better off because I think that if anything, Sheila is she's going to keep him on the straight and narrow. She's going to, or she's going to leave him, or she's going to slap the heck out of him, which is probably not a bad thing. I'm sure he probably needs that. Yeah, I just don't really, I just don't really see it. I don't know. Trying to be nice, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but Tolga is just not my favorite. I'm kind of feeling like that was really it for the episode 3. I mean, so basically, Tolga and Sheila. Let's see. No, they don't even meet in this episode. So who meets in this episode? Now I'm trying to remember, but really, basically, because it's really quick. Like it just doesn't seem like it's kind of like in order. So it's kind of a little bit different, I think, than the American one. But Shella, oh my goodness, I'm almost forgetting. So Shella and Pascal, they meet, proposed right in the rooms, then they meet. He gives her the ring. He seems very happy. He's like, oh, when he sees her come out, like, woo, Black Beauty. She is beautiful. And he is like 7 feet tall. And he's like, oh my God, I love Africa. Woo, she's beautiful. So he's very happy. And she seems very happy too. So that's a really good thing. And then I think the only other thing that happens, I'm looking at my notes, but really the only other thing that happens after that, Medina, hold on. I need a drink. I gotta clean my mouth out when I say that name. Medina. I need a gargle with salt water. So, he proposed, he chose her, which there was never anybody else. So that's why I thought this was going to be a match made in heaven. That day when he proposes, Sally, his girl, shows up in the room and he left her a bracelet with scripture on it. And I think it was like so sweet. It was like Philippians 4, I think, but I can't remember. But it was the one that says like, with God, all things are possible. So sweet, right? And I'm like, oh my God, man of God, so wonderful. Oh my Lord, she is too. They're going to pray together. It's going to be wonderful. And then how amazing, because she goes to her room that night and she's praying. And she's like, God, let me know if this is the right move. Let me know. I need a sign. I need something. Let me know. And so she gets him a necklace. And on the necklace, what is subscribed on the necklace? Same exact scripture. Like through God, all things are possible, right? How awesome. I would have taken it as a sign also because I'm just cookie like that. But she just starts like, oh my gosh, this is it. I have to marry this man. It is absolutely beautiful. He proposes the next day. I don't even know what to say. You would think that he would, oh, those doors would come open, her doors would come open, and they would run to each other like Casablanca. And they would hug and kiss and they praise Jesus and drop on their knees and pray together. That is not what happened. No, because Medina is a fraud. As those doors are about to come open, instead of being humble and saying, I don't care what she looks like, all that I know is God brought me to this show, right? Because he says he's a man of God. That's all he talks about. God brought me to this show, and she is the one for me, and I will love her and cherish her and treat her like the angel that she is, because she is. No, instead, he looks at the camera and says, I'm really worried because I think, what if she's not my type? What do you mean a type? You're on Love is Blind because you can't get anybody else. And you're at your like road's end or whatever. You're like at the end of the road and you don't know because you can't make it work with anybody else. And you've been through relationship after relationship. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to find somebody because I'm getting old and it's time to settle down. And instead he's like, what if she's not my type? I was so, bleh. That's what I was doing in my head. I was like, are you, I had to pause it and take it in because Sally is so beautiful. She is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Beautiful face, beautiful hair, curves, everything. I was jealous. I loved her dress. So sweet, so positive, great energy. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh. Instead of wondering, I hope she likes me. You know, I hope she's not disappointed in me. Not that she should, but she should actually. But the door's open. And what does he do? He starts laughing. What is so funny? What is so funny, Medina? What is so funny? Because you know what's funny? Your hair, your glasses. Let me stop. Let me stop. Your suit that's too small for you. Let me stop. What is so funny? She is so upset. She doesn't know why he's laughing. If you meet somebody and you're standing there and someone's laughing at you like that, you're so insecure. And that would be natural. Anybody would be, even if you were the most beautiful person in the whole wide world, like perfection. You're still going to be insecure because we're human. And she's like, oh, oh. And she runs to him and she gives him a hug and he's laughing like a weird hyena. Like, what are you laughing at? And so she's very insecure. And he sits down and he won't stop laughing. And she looks at him and she's trying to take it in, right? Because this is so surreal. She's trying to take it in. She doesn't know what to do. She's very awkward. You know, she's got to feel bad. The cameras are on her. And she says to him, oh no. So she looks at him and he looks at her. And instead of saying, you are so beautiful, because she is, he says to her, stop looking at me like that. Don't look at me that way. What does that mean? What does that mean? Because I would have been looking at you like what? I'd have been slapping those ugly glasses off his head. Who wears glasses on their forehead and you're not like at the beach? Like I wear them all the time, but not on TV. Not when you're about to get married or propose or propose to someone and you're wearing a suit. And he just looked so childish to me. Like he just didn't care. And so she doesn't know what to say. So her response is, well, can we hug again? And she stands up to give him another hug and she gives him a hug and he starts laughing totally. As I was saying, I had to stop for a second. I started getting hot. I'm sweating. My heart rate's at 95. I'm so hot. I mean, she literally was so insecure. All she was doing was begging for like a compliment of some sort. And she's like, what do you think? So he hugs her. And when she asks, what do you think? He refuses to answer. He literally just keeps laughing. And she says, you're laughing. You're making me insecure. I don't know what to do. And he turns around and walks his out through those two doors, laughing. Turns around and looks at her. It was so obvious that she was not his type. And I don't know why, because Sally is absolutely beautiful and he is not even worth the dirt under her shoe. And I know that sounds so mean, but to do that to another human being, like, that is so not humble and thoughtful and sweet. And to know that she's struggling with insecurity at that moment, and she knows this is on TV for like 10 million people to watch, and all he does is laugh, nothing else. So she walks away, the doors close, and the camera goes, of course, right to her face because, that's what they do. And her reaction is so sad. She's just like, this was awkward. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And she's just broken. And you can see it. And this is how it ends. It ends just like this, with her doing this. And that's it. And that's episode 3. So thank you, Love is Blind, Germany. I mean, that's it. I wasn't sure if I was going to watch it because it was really kind of boring. Episode 1. Episode 2 was like, it kind of picked up a little bit at the end. Episode 3, okay, we're getting a little bit of juicy juice. We'll see what's going on because I think there's 2 more people who are going to see each other, and then like 2 more couples, and then they're going to go on their honeymoon to an island, and it's called Crete. I think it's Crete. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's outside of Greece. So right now the cast is staying in Stockholm, in Sweden. And even though they're, from Germany, but they're staying in Sweden, and they're going to have their honeymoon in Crete. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's in Greece and it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm going to put a picture. And then after that, hopefully they will survive. They will survive the whole debacle. I don't even know what's going to happen with Medina because I'd be like drowning him. But then they're going to go back and live in their shared apartments in Berlin. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to episode 4. So yeah. Anyway, there's my thoughts. I hope that I didn't bore you to death, but I've just got a lot of thoughts going on about this stuff. And, I've been stuck on, I can't remember the name of the season, but I'm still so stuck on like the whole, like Jimmy and Jessica and Trevor and just all of them. Like, I don't know why. Like, I still have like PTSD from that. That was like such an angry season to me. Like Trevor, I was so team Trevor, and Jimmy just really bothered me. And I know there's a lot of people who was just all team him and all that, but I was just, I don't know. I was one that really wanted Chelsea and Trevor to get together because I didn't appreciate anything. I didn't appreciate anything about that season. So I'm just hoping I get a little bit more at it. And I know there's been other seasons after that, and I know, but I feel like they're all a disaster. I mean, you have like one couple that ends up being together. So I don't know about this one because my favorite couple right away, Medina and Sally, or at least I thought they were, he ruined it. So I really don't know if this is going to be good at all. The only hope that I have is I'm hoping that these hosts are going to be better than Nick and Vanessa, because I signed, I know it probably doesn't even work, but I signed the petition for them to be booted because after what they did to Trevor at the reunion, I will never forgive. So I know they would never see this show or this channel or, my commentary, but if they ever did, I'd have a lot to say. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Until next week, I will review episode 4, maybe 5, depending on how good it gets. It depends on how good it gets. But we'll see. So, till next time, thank you. Have a good one. Bye, friends.